opportunity to get into the room. All right, we want to give everyone an opportunity to come into the room. If you are here and you can hear me well, I want you to, in the chat, if you would, just say, Serena, I can hear you. Now, the thing is, when you share in the chat, I just need you to make sure that you select to share with panelists and all attendees. I think that's the option there. That way, everyone can see your response. So if you would in the chat, if you're here, make sure it says to all panelists and attendees. Okay? Let me know that you can hear me well. Just say I'm here and I can hear you. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're going to give everybody a few seconds to join on this fine Saturday morning. Hello, Richard. Hello, Miss Joyner. Hello, Javier. I can hear you. Good morning. Okay, great stuff. So I'm going to give folks just a moment to come into the room, and then we are diving in. I am so excited about our webinar this morning, and I'm grateful for those that have invested their time to be here. And we did one of these a couple weeks ago, kind of impromptu. And this one was also, but I felt like, I had something that I really wanted to share with you, and particularly or specifically, just a few strategies and things to use so that 2019 can finish strong, and then you can begin 2020 really strong. Okay, so I'm just going to give people a second. We'll let them join, and then we will get started with whoever's here. And then as folks come in, they will just need to catch up with us, all right? If you don't already have something warm to drink, grab it. If you don't have your pen and your journal or your pad or whatever, make sure you have something to write on. I will be showing you lots of things on my screen, so hopefully you're able to see the screen okay as well. But I will be sharing plenty, so I want you to be able to capture that and write it down and all that good stuff. So welcome to those that are joining. If you're joining now, you could just say hello. I'm here. I'm in the room. I can hear you. See that we have, okay. Yeah, so we have quite a few joining now. And what's really always interesting about this webinar is when I do share it, I share it with a fairly small group of people because that's what I do. I'll say that because that's what I do. But not everyone understands that you need to register to get into the webinar, so they hold on to the invitation and then have to wait for the email to come in and join. So we'll make sure that that's clear on the next go round. But I'm just going to set up the recording part, and then in the next 60 seconds here, we're starting 9:05 on the dot. All right. Thank you. And again, I can see your messages. Just make sure you select to all panelists and attendees if you're joining.
You can say something if you want.
Wait till I write something.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Or say something.
Mm-mm.
Wait till I write.
Right.
Dive right in.
Say chat.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna pause for just a second, just to start the rest of stuff.
What happened? You up here. Screen option.
All right, we're gonna get started. With those that are here, we'll let everyone join as they as they come in, they'll just catch up with us. But thank you again this morning for joining this Live Bold, Believe Big, Take Action webinar. Okay? I hope you are excited because I definitely am. And we are starting now. Nelson Mandela once said, "It always seems impossible until you do it." Through the Water Walker movement, I want to help you embrace that uncertainty and do the seemingly impossible. My name is Serena Moore Thomas, destroyer of comfort zones, speaker, author, entrepreneur. The world is waiting for what you have. All right. Okay, so do you believe that the world is waiting for what you have? I'm going to put this quote here because I want you to remember this. So I said that I am the destroyer of comfort zones. That is the name that I go by for a very specific reason. I believe that there is so much more life to live, and it is located outside of your comfort zone. Right, so here's a quote that I certainly live by, and it's, "If you want something, go get it." And oftentimes we spend a lot of times waiting for something to come to us, right? We wait for things to be hand delivered, and we also often also want those things to come and not look like work. And here's the thing: if you want something, you have to be willing to get up and go get it. During this webinar, I'm going to share some stuff with you that's pretty personal. And in the hopes that you will be encouraged, empowered, and inspired. And not just that, but you will have some ammunition and some fuel to do the things that are in your heart to do, okay? I'm going to start with a small story, and you might be saying, what in the world does this have to do with anything, Serena? What does the little engine that could have to do with anything? Okay, let me tell you a story. Now, this particular story is pretty deep. There's a lot of things that we can learn from the little engine that could. I'm a mom and I read stories all the time, and you are probably parents as well. And every once in a while, you'll come across a story that has lots and lots of life lessons in them. But I want to share this particular one with you in Serena version, okay? Just as the way that I understand the story, and so I got to tell it the way that I tell it, okay? So if you're all right with that, yeah, listen carefully. Okay, here we go. So the Little Engine That Could, very popular story. It's about a small train, right? And listen to every detail. It's about a small train that is on the tracks. It's on its way, according to the story, this train is on its way over a mountain to go deliver the gifts that it is carrying on the train to some boys and girls that are on the other side of the mountain, right? So it's a small train that has toys and gifts and lollipops and all these beautiful things, books and things that the children on the other side of the mountain are waiting for. And so the story goes that as this train is on its way to make its delivery, the wheels start to stop turning and it is now stuck on the track. Okay, so this train is on its way, but it is now stuck on the track, so it can't deliver what it's supposed to deliver, and it's in need of help. Okay, and so the story goes that another train comes that is shiny and brand new, that obviously is strong enough to help the train over the track. And when the little engine asks, the blue train asks, hey, can you help me over the track? This big shiny train says, no, I am not helping the likes of you. I carry very important people and we have dining cards, and I'm just not about to help you deliver the thing that you're trying to deliver. This is just not important to me. So that train keeps going, right? And so this small train again is stuck on the track. Another train comes that is big and strong, and that train says, well, look, I only deliver big machinery and I pull tractors and things over the tracks. I'm not about to connect myself to you so that I can pull you over the track. That's what that train says, right? So this one is big and strong and has the ability to, but will not, right? And then another train comes that's a little older train, and that train says, listen, I'm barely making it over the mountain myself. There's no way that I can pull you, right? I can't pull you and me over this mountain at the same time. Then there's this little train that comes. There's a little blue engine that comes. And that train sees that there's a problem, right? Sees that this train can't get over the mountain in order to deliver what it has, and says, how can I help you? And they said, look, we need to connect to someone that can bring us over this mountain. And the little train does something that is quite amazing. Although that train has not been over the mountain yet that day, he says, you know what? Connect yourself to me and I will pull you over the mountain. Let's see if we can do this, right? And they connect, and that little train starts to say those famous words, right? I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And the train starts to pull this train carrying all these gifts over the mountain so that it can go and deliver what it is carrying. Now, I want to know if you caught all of that, right? I am going to introduce myself to you today as your little engine that could. I believe that what you are carrying is so important, and I want to help you deliver to the people that are waiting for you to show up. Do you understand that? I want to help you deliver the thing that you carry to the people that are waiting for you to show up. If you can say yes, yes, just say yes, yes.
Yes, yes. Yes, Lord.
Yes, yes. You got it? Yes, yes. Thank you. All right. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to connect with you in a way so that we can pull this train over these tracks and you can get to the people that are waiting for you. Okay, is that good? I know it is. Let's go. So I have a picture here that I want to show with you and share with you. And I told you that I'm going to be very transparent with you because I believe that this is important. This is a picture of Serena. I'm not going to go into all of my story, but this is, I'll give you a little bit. At the age of 17 years old, this is me. I was 17 at this time. This was graduation day. I just graduated from high school. In my left and right arm, you see my twins, Shania and Deja. Yes, I was a teenage mom, right? This day, I remember all of my friends were planning what kind of summer they were going to have. They were planning what college they were about to go to and what dorm they would move into. I had friends that were planning to do great things that particular summer. And while everybody was planning to go to college and do things like that, I was trying to figure out where I was going to live with my two babies. Now, I had always been an ambitious young lady, so I was, first to do a lot of things in terms of my friends, first to drive and open a bank account and get a job and things like that. So I was always very ambitious and always a go-getter. I was always very entrepreneurial. I was the candy lady and all of that stuff. And I sold candy in fifth period, and I was the go-to for certain things, right? So I had a lot of ambition and stuff inside of me. But then I had this new set of circumstances. I got involved with a man that was 10 years older than me and found out that I was pregnant during the earlier part of my senior year. And so this young lady that you look at in these pictures, if you can look in her eyes, she is full of guilt. She's full of shame. She's full of worry. She's a lot of concerns. She is uncertain about herself, about her future, about her abilities. But there was one thing I had to say to myself, and it's the quote that you see on your screen. You can cry, but don't you dare quit. Although my circumstances were what they were, right? Challenging indeed. It's challenging to be a parent as an adult. So just think about how challenging it is to be a parent when you're still a child, right? And so I had a choice to make. I could allow my circumstances to dictate, right, the rest of my life, or I could choose to reach further and go higher despite my circumstances, despite the situation, despite the hand that I'm dealt at this point. I can decide to go further anyway. And so I had to make a choice. I chose that I would go anyway. I went on to start a business and run a business with my father and my brother. We started with no money, no college degree, no funding, no plan, just a lot of faith and some situations and circumstances that called for us to show up in a big way. I went on to be on the cover of Black Enterprise magazine, which was one of my dreams as a younger teenager. I was also featured in Essence magazine. I won 40 under 40 for the in New York and in Philadelphia. BET, USA Today, New York Times, all this stuff is very much Googleable. But I made a choice as a teenager holding two babies that I was not going to allow that to be it for me. Okay? This is important to a mindset, right? And I want to make sure that you're getting this. God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the call. What does that mean? What that means for me is my situation can look like whatever it is, but once God has placed something in my heart, it is He that qualifies me. And I'll share a little bit about that in a second because it's something that you're going to be able to use in your action plan today. Okay? This is my current family. I make sure that I show them because it is a contrast to what you just saw. You saw single teenage mom Serena, and here is married mama Serena of 4, married to a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful, handsome, kind, sweet man, and that is him. And so this is my current family, okay? I wrote a book called Water Walker and released it this year, May 2019. And this is going to be the topic and the thing to help you finish this year strong. Absolutely. Now this picture, it looks like it's a novel. It's not a novel, people. I promise you that it has been written for folks that are ready to go. Right? So it is not a novel. It's not very long. It is less than 100 pages because it is for people that need to be moving. And I don't want you to take 4 years to read it if you've been stuck, okay, already. So it is very, very easy to read, but it's about embracing uncertainty and doing the seemingly impossible, okay? So let's get into why we're here today. I gave you a welcome and a little bit of an introduction. I don't want to spend too much time there because I want to make sure we get in everything we get in this next 60 minutes, plus answer some of your questions, all right? So let's go. The Water Walker mindset, which I'm going to define for you in just a minute, but the title of our webinar today is about living bold, believing big, and taking action. All of that is going to lead us to the 4 things that I believe you need to do to finish 2019 strong and make 2020 your breakout year. Okay? Now, there are more than 4 things that you probably need to do. I do understand that. But we're only going to talk about 4 today. Okay? And that is all a part of living bold, believing big, and taking action. So we'll dive a little bit into clarity and the importance of it, right? Having a vision, why that's important. Your mindset. You change your mindset, you change your life, right? It always seems impossible until you do it. That's what Nelson Mandela said. One of my favorite quotes. So we're going to talk about excuses, the excuses that we tell ourselves, because at the end of the day, excuses are the lies we tell ourselves so that it doesn't have to be our fault, right? Excuses are the lies we tell ourselves so that it doesn't have to be our fault. And then we'll talk about a take action plan, right? I'll take your questions and answers, and you'll have those 4 things by the end of our time together this morning. That sounds like what you came for? Say yes in the comments. That helps me to know that people can hear me and that you are on board with what we're about to do. I will say this, I'm not going to be easy on you today. I'm going to go hard. Why? Because what you have is very important, right? And I can't call myself a destroyer of comfort zones if we don't destroy anything. So I will be a little hard on you today, but it's going to be okay. It's all in love. And I'm going to start with this very first question, right? It's the first question. It's the first thing I want you to ask yourself. It says, are you sure you're not the weapon formed against you, causing yourself not to prosper? Are you sure? Are you positive? Look at this little baby's face now. Are you sure? Because certainly as believers, like, we're the ones that are just, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Well, what happens when you're the weapon formed against you, causing yourself not to prosper? What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Are you getting in your own way? One of the very first things we have to talk about, you have to come to terms with, is that you have to take 100% responsibility for the actions that you take and don't take, for the things that you do and don't do, and for the outcomes that you see or don't see. You have to take personal responsibility for that. And you have to make the decision, right? No one can make it for you. You can't force it on you, put it on you. You have to make that choice. And so this is a real question. Are you sure that you are not the weapon formed against you, causing yourself not to prosper? Write that down. Right? So when we talk about living bold, believing big, and taking action, what am I saying to you? The first one, living bold, okay? What does that mean? What does it mean to live bold? It means to live with purpose, right? Live with purpose and intention. It means to show up confidently. It means to stop doubting and start doing, right? And what does it look like, though? So we've all been students in school before, right? We've all been in school at some point in time. Early elementary, let's talk about elementary, middle school time. I remember for myself, there were days when we would have an assignment, right? And I was just not really that prepared for it. Either I forgot that we had to do it, I did not want to do it, or I really didn't have it. Like, I forgot it, I left it, I lost it, or whatever. Those days when I showed up in class and I was not prepared, those were the days that I prayed to be invisible. I didn't want the teacher to have the ability to see me, because it seemed like every single time I wasn't prepared, I would be the one that she would call on. Now, I don't know if she could just see unprepared written across my forehead or what, but those were the times where I was like, I hope she don't call on me today. I have no idea what we're talking about. I did not do the assignment. You know that feeling? And if you know what I'm talking about, say yes. I know the feeling, right? Then there are other times when I am ready, like ready. I spent my time, I decided, I made up my mind, I'm gonna get this assignment done, I'm gonna do whatever it takes, I'm gonna answer every question, including the extra credit, I'm doing front and back, I'm giving it my all, right? Now, those days when I've done what I was supposed to do, the way I walk up in the classroom is different. You understand? I mean, there's just extra swag going on. I'm confidently walking in there, taking my book bag off, taking my stuff out, putting it on my desk. I'm ready and I'm waiting, right? I'm ahead of class. You know what I'm talking about, right? I'm ahead, I'm ready to do it. And I'm wishing she would call on me. Now those usually be the days when we just all of a sudden have a fire drill and then my little fire gets put out by the water. But I'm saying there's a different kind of attitude, there's a different level of boldness that comes with being prepared, right? And being certain and being clear, right? And so your boldness is directly linked to the level of clarity that you have. When you are clear about where you're going, where you want to go, what you want to do, what you're looking to accomplish, when that is crystal clear, you can show up with a new level of boldness when you're crystal clear. And so you come through like that student that is prepared for whatever the teacher throws. So your clarity is directly related to the kind of boldness that you show up with. Clarity is key, right? Vision, clarity, all related. Vision is revealed to the person in position to listen. Your vision must be written down. And so many times, we have these things in our heads that we want to do. We have these goals, we have these things, but we won't write them down. And the unfortunate thing is, if you keep it up here in your thought life, when circumstances come that are contrary to where you're going, you tend to forget what it was that you were talking about you were going to do. And so you tend to forget. And so it's so important that you write it down and make it plain. Post it where you can see it, right? We have a scripture for that. We know the Bible tells us to write the vision and make it plain. But the clearer you are, the more clarity you have, the bolder you're able to show up. Do you agree? If you agree, say I agree. I agree. I agree. I have to get clear. Have to get clarity. Right? The other thing we say, believe big. So if we're going back to our 4 things we need to do so that 2020 can be a breakout year and we can finish 2019 strong, the very first thing you need to do is get clear. Get clarity. Get clear about where you're going. Clear about what you're doing. Okay? So our next one is believe big, right? Believe big. What does it mean to believe big? Well, there is a quote by Tony Robbins, and I believe it says something like 80% of success at anything is psychological. And only 20% of that is technical, right? So 80% of success at anything is psychological. Now, way before Tony Robbins was thought of, the Bible said that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So as I think, so am I. And I think the Amplified version says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he to become. Right? When I was that young teenage girl that I showed you the picture of, right? I did things that were pretty bold, and I believed big, certainly. Now, let's just think about this for a minute. I was not the only teenager to have a baby. I'm not the only 17-year-old to have twins, unfortunately. Not the only single mom, not the only single Black female, none of those things are unique. There are plenty of people in those circumstances and in worse. Now, so what is the difference between the people who are in, let's say, the exact same circumstances, another 17-year-old who's holding 2 babies, who has decisions to make? There are some that choose to do nothing, and then there are some that choose to go anyway. What's the difference? I believe the difference is the level of belief, right? And so immediately as a young person, I would say by the time I was about 19 years old, and you may laugh at me, but it's a belief system, so just flow with me for a second. At 19, I was literally, I had a business idea, but it wasn't fully developed yet, but I was literally applying to vice president of human resources, the president of sales and marketing. I applied to, director of whatever, like regional director of business development, I think it was, or something like that. I literally applied to all types of jobs that I did not, quote unquote, or really in reality, qualified for, right? I applied for all types of jobs that were qualified for. That's because I was believing bigger than where I was, right? And in my mind, now I really honestly did believe that if they hired me and showed me what to do, I could do the job. I was that confident in myself that I really thought that I could do the job, which is why I applied. Now, I also applied understanding this truth that people can only tell me yes or no, right? No one holds my whole life in their hands but the one that created me. There's nobody else with that much power, right? So people can only tell me yes or no. So why am I afraid to apply and go outside and do what other people won't do and step out and get out of that boat and start walking on this way? I'm not afraid to do that. What can happen? What's the worst that can happen, right? They could tell me no. And so I applied anyway, but that's directly linked to to a belief system, right? And I had to believe big. Now, did I get the job as the vice president of human resources and director of sales and marketing? No, praise God, because I probably would have just messed up some people's lives, particularly in the human resources department, right? I didn't even know what human resources was. I looked at the description, I looked at the amount of money, I added up my bank account, and I started counting on my hands and the way my bank account stood up. I need this job. Right? And so that was the way that I did it. Now, I didn't get those jobs, but because I was willing to step up and step out, there were other opportunities that came that were in line with where I was thinking. Do you understand? I could no longer accept the Burger King and the McDonald's. I couldn't do that any longer. I had to think higher. And so doors started opening at higher levels because I was ready. I was ready to show up at a high level. You guys get that? And so I did. I got a job at Morgan Stanley Dean Witter, actually. And I took my Series 7 test, actually, when I was about 21. I thought I wanted to be a financial planner and or financial advisor. I ended up not doing that, obviously. But I did get opportunities that were far above my quote-unquote capabilities. But it was because I was positioned there already in my mind. And when you're not there in your mind, you will repel, you'll reject these big opportunities because your thinking is too low. Is this helping you this morning? I told you I was going to come for you. Okay, I hope this is helping. So we have to believe big. So the second thing that we need to do in order for 2020 to be a breakout year and to finish 2019 strong for real, you need to have a mindset shift, right? You need to get out of your own way. You need to get out of your own way and shift that mindset. Okay. And keep going. So let me ask you, what is it that holds you back from seeing results? What kinds of things? What could you